I would like to welcome you to ITSE 2309. Before we begin many of these modules, I'd like to kind of make a comment here. If you were to take a course in a foreign language, what would be the expectations from a student after one semester of a foreign language? You know, you'd probably be able to kind of know the alphabet, know the sentence structure, kind of write, kind of read, but you really wouldn't be proficient to the degree that you would consider writing a Pulitzer. That said, we are talking about SQL. Consider SQL a foreign language, and also consider your expectations of what you would perceive the outcome would be after one semester of a foreign language. You would be able to understand the grammatical structure, the spelling, be able to write some sentences, communicate, but beyond that, the proficiency would be somewhat limited. I say that because I want to develop some expectations in this process. This is an entry-level event, and it is designed as a general-purpose overall process. It is designed to develop a strong foundation from which you can expand with a little bit of experience and proficiency. That's it. Let's begin with the first process. In this portion of the module, we'll look at downloading Oracle 11g Express. As noted in the Oracle website information, Oracle 11g Express does have some minimum resource requirements. We will be looking at the requirements of a 32 Windows. Also, please note that a suggestion is to download this on a separate PC. We'll be using your internet resource to connect to the Oracle website. From the Oracle website, we will select the download section. We will scroll through till we find Oracle 11g Express. After we select Oracle 11g Express, we'll be looking into creating an account with Oracle. We will be using your ACC email address as your username. There is a benefit to using your ACC email address as your username, as it is tied into some academic alliance benefits. Once we get to the Oracle download scenario, depending what browser you use, you will select download. That will navigate down through the software downloads scenario. You will scroll down until you find the Oracle 11g Express edition. There are many things you can look at. For the purpose of this course, we will be selecting the 11g Express. There's also an additional item that we may look at later on, and this is the SQL Developer. This is a GUI interface that is most valuable to help develop code processing. As we navigate through these menus, we will be asked to accept the Oracle licensing agreement. Once again, they reinforce the scenario of a 32 environment. For those of you who are brave enough, we can select a second scenario where you can actually get into your edit and adapt your 64-bit machine to accept a 32-bit file. You get a slight thank you from Oracle. And then once again, this is where you begin to create your user account scenario with Oracle. We will be using your ACC Gmail address as your username. This does have some issues in that it helps with the Academic Alliance privileges. Once again, please do not forget or misplace your password, as this will have cascade effects down the line if you do. After you do that, you will get a little download icon. This is a little file that you will open up. You will select the setup and instructions. This will create a secondary drop down menu that will allow you to extract the installer. The installer in turn will be used to extract the Oracle 11g Express. Once again, at this point, you will be asked to accept a licensing agreement as you toggle through this process. We will select the Oracle Database 11g Express. At this point, you see the browse icon on the right. You can also select to re-navigate and select in which directory or which file you would like Oracle to reside. Please understand that if you do change this, as you drill down in future events, you may have issues, so it is best to have the default setting work for you. At this point, we start creating username and password accounts. It is very critical that you Remember your password entry at this point, as if you forget this, you may be required to rebuild this whole process. Throughout this process, you will also be getting these dialog boxes. My recommendation is to do some kind of screen capture. This you can warehouse, this information you can warehouse for later use as reference points if needed. We begin the extract file, and then we reach a little point here where you have completion. And note, at this point we have downloaded Oracle 11g Express. That is the raw software. Now we need to open up this software and start building the process that we will be using. Within this Oracle 11g Express, you do have a basic sample database that you can use to experiment with, and we will explore that later on. You will have an icon usually on your desktop. You can double click on your desktop. This will also open up a secondary issue which will note home, storage, sessions, parameters, application express. We'll be kind of walking through these tabs to kind of give you an idea of what's going on. This is the first phase to develop the database. In the end, we will actually be looking at the application express. As you click that, you'll notice that this is where you start reserving space in your hard drive that will be used to warehouse the database you'll be creating. At this point, you select a username and application name for this process. In this case, you will see I have used ITSE 2309. Once you do that, you give it another item where it says you have successfully created the workspace. At this point, we will toggle through a different area here where it will be used to create the actual database. You'll notice here under Application Express we will have some workspace that you will develop, and once again I go ahead and use ITSE 2309 for the workspace and the username. It makes it a whole lot easier as you begin this process. We will also be looking at this where we'll be working through several tabs. These tabs are used to build the database, operate and manage the database. You'll notice here you have the application developer, the SQL workshop, team development, and administration. As we tab through these, you see they have more menu items that you can select from. But in the end, we will be using the SQL workshop. This will open up a dialog box that will allow you to start entering your SQL commands. At this point, we will shift to looking at the scripts that will be used to develop the database. These scripts will be located in Blackboard, which will be followed in the next tutorial section.